This is my cousin Hung, and I'm Na. Welcome to the Curiosity Connection podcast. I've known Hung since you were like 4 or 3 when before you even moved into my parents' first home. And then like we used to visit your parents' like apartment down by this CNE area. And then afterwards you moved into our place near your mom. And from time to time we saw each other at family function. And I think when I was like 28, you were thinking of relocating back to Toronto. And I'm like, you're looking for a place. So I said, yeah, come. I've got a spare room. Hang out at my place and till you find your footing and then go from there. But in that whole time, your career as a DJ took off. So the curiosity question I have for you is more of what prompted you to pursue DJing? And let's start from there.
I can say that it started when I was a child. I don't know specifically what, but I can tell you the things that were around me that made me like curious about it. It's funny you mentioned your house because when my mom would put me to bed, she would play this disco tape.
Yeah.
I don't know where this disco tape came from.
So give the viewers or the listener a context of what the year is.
So
when you were living at my place, it was like we're talking about 90s, early 90s.
It was late 80s, early 90s, and the tape was continuous.
Okay.
So I noticed when she pressed play, it would run for like an hour or something like that, or just much longer than an actual song.
Right.
And so that stood out because I guess like me being introduced to music, I thought everything was like a big long mix.
Right.
When I was little.
That's awesome.
And so I guess like
that was your template. You thought it was like a continuous like run.
Right. My first exposure to it was like music being blended together, but at the same tempo.
So was it her mixtape or where did she get the mixtape from?
I have no idea.
Right.
I remember vaguely what the cover looked like, so it looked like someone bought it.
Right. And was a mixtape in English or English Vietnamese?
It was like a disco tape that had like hands up, baby, like that sort of poppy like disco.
Yeah.
At the time I didn't know what it was, and then like growing up like years later and I ventured into different genres and I listened to disco. I'm like, wow, a lot of the stuff that was on that tape is like right here in front of me, which is crazy. Right. So yeah, it started with that, and then I think also my favorite characters on TV, they just happen to be like working in radio stations.
Okay.
For instance, like on Full House, like Joey Gladstone and Uncle Jesse had a radio show.
Yeah.
And I always gravitated towards Joey because he's like funny.
Yeah.
And then like on Saved by the Bell, Screech was the DJ.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so funny. Like I see myself as Screech out of all of them. I'm not the jock like Slater. I'm not the blonde hair guy like Zach.
Yeah.
I'm more like this nerdy, like introverted guy like Screech. And so correlation with that, and then also Fresh Prince, like Jazzy Jeff is on there. He's an actual DJ. Yes. So those three influences were in my life literally from like the time media was like being consumed in my brain to the time where I can start making decisions and buy things.
Right. And just so our listener has a context, this is during a time when it was predominantly cable television and network television. So a lot of the shows that you were referencing, like Saved by the Bell and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and what was the other one?
Saved by the Bell, Full House.
They were on syndication on a lot of the major networks and cables, right?
Yeah.
Cable.
She really shows off our age here.
It's okay.
We're old.
You know what? It's cool.
We're super old.
We're being authentic. We're exploring like, the origins and the evolution of just what influenced us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so continue. Like you're saying, like, a lot of the shows that you were drawn to, most of the characters, ironically, were in some sort of music genre, right?
Yeah, and they were the guys like controlling the music, and so that always like stuck out. I thought that was really interesting. Listening to mixtapes as I got older, people would just like have them on them, and I'm like, "What's this?" And they would play, and it's just like that same continuous mix, right? Not of the same genre that I was a kid, but like the style of it.
So where do you think, like, especially, I know I can only speak for myself, like mixtapes like where did you get it from? Who did you get it from? And was it like something that was just like originated as titled like label mixtape you purchased it, or was it something that people like compiled like their favorite list
Mhm.
together, or I guess would be the modern version of just mixing different blending, kind of being a micro DJ in their own rights, right?
I think it's like it just would be brought into the house from family friends, right? Because like this is a time where like everyone's new to the country, so like
Right.
when you come to the house, there's always something like, oh, look what I bought, like you
Yeah,
know
a
what I mean? It's
mixtape. Yeah.
so the I guess a good example would be like those dance mix CDs.
Yeah.
And so those would show up in the house, and nobody like in our households buying them, right? Because they don't know where to buy them. So,
Okay,
but
so let's go back to you were saying the dance CD. What exactly is it?
Dance Mix like
CD?
95, like Dance Mix 94, Dance Mix 93, like
Are
those
we talking?
CDs.
And these are like from Much Music's dance
Yeah.
mix. Yeah, so they're one of the for listeners out there for context. So in Canada, or specifically Toronto, our equivalent to MTV was Much Music, and every year they would put out the party their top lists, you know, dance mix party compilation for that year, and it was a popular sell, right?
Yeah, it was amazing. Like every year we'd hear the mixes, and it just gives you like an insight on what that year sounded like,
Yeah,
and they kept getting better.
yeah,
I love that because now the songs were getting shorter and they were fitting more in there.
right,
So I thought that was pretty cool. And then now that I'm at the age, let's say like 13, 14,
yeah,
I'm starting to make them myself.
right,
And so I'm recording songs off of the radio with like a tape player, and then I would like stop the songs at a certain part, and
yeah.
then like start this recording at a different part so that the beats always like landed. So like the one song would end, and then like I would rewind it, and be like, okay, where's the drum? It's like right here. Okay, this is where I want the next recording to start.
But how did you do that? Like, was it because I know, just for listeners' context, back then, we're aging ourselves, and that's totally cool. So we're Gen Xer, or early millennial. You're a Zennial,
We're
whatever.
fossils.
Yeah. No, we're cool people. Anyway, so back then, music was played on a device called radio, and most people own at least what do you call it? Out here,
A
it's
tape
like
player. You could call it a boombox, a
a
stereo, a
boombox.
tape
Yeah.
player. I always called it just like a tape player.
Yeah, stereo, like a different size stereo, and some stereos often come with one tape recorder,
Mhm,
and you would put on your favorites when the song comes up, or you would phone into the radio station and request your favorite song,
mhm,
and when they would announce it, you would hit the record button,
mhm.
and if you got the fancier stereo, you have two tape recorder,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Two on each side. And so you would have a tape on one side, play that, and then hit record on the second one.
Yeah.
So how did you establish the recording? Like, was it just like
Uh,
off the radio, and you put the tape and you hit record, or did you have two tape, or did you have two stereo and you hit record and you're recording the sound off of the second stereo?
I remember we had I think it was my sister's, but it was like this, play school tape recorder,
Yeah.
and would record off things like this. I did it off of anything. Like, if I saw that record button,
Mhm.
I found a way to make a recording happen.
Yeah.
So we had, like, that dual thing that you were talking about where it was like
Two tape.
one side had a tape player, and then the other side also had a tape player, but
Yeah.
the record function was on one of them.
Yes.
So you could and this thing was patched to the CD and the TV. So I was like, "Oh, if I wanted to, like, just get something off a
Oh,
music
you're
video, I
getting
could
a
do that
best
too."
up there, yeah.
So I would do that, and then I would, record stuff off the radio, and also I would, record, like, videos
Mhm.
on cassette, and, I didn't know how popular that was until I found out, like, my friends did it too.
Right.
And so we did that, and then I also, like
Guys ever trade like tracks mix just to compare, or like inspired each other? I'm like, hey, this is actually I hadn't thought about this genre, or doing it this way,
my
or splicing the
yeah.
songs a certain way.
My grade 7 birthday party, we had a video dance in our basement, and I just played my video of all the songs I liked, and
Yeah.
it was, like, the soundtrack to, like, my grade that year because
Yeah.
we all liked those
Yeah.
songs. And this is where a time where, like, music is, like, it's not as, saturated as today.
Yes.
So, like, one song, like, everyone knew, and, like, we all kinda liked
Yeah.
it, and, like,
It was
so
very mainstream, yeah.
all our tastes were very, like,
On the same
streamlined and
page, yeah.
similar, and it was easy. So, yeah, that's what grade 7 our parties were like, just, like, a bunch of mixtapes and cassettes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then okay, so from that, from recording a mixtape to CD dance party, how did you continue on, with the DJing world? Like, you coulda stopped there, but what drove your curiosity to expand, like, or to broaden out of that, that template that we were exposed to from that timeline?
So in high school, I got a computer,
Mhm.
and I downloaded this software, and it was called Atomics,
Okay.
and it gave me the whole DJ setup right in front of me
Right.
on the screen. So like all I did was like hit play and use the crossfader,
Yeah.
and the thing would just blend for me.
Right.
So you take any song, it could be like a slow song, and you can blend it with like a very fast song, and it would just do it on both sides. I was like, "Whoa, like this is so cool." So I started practicing on that just for fun, just to
Mhm.
see what songs sounded good, and then I would record like each transition.
Mhm.
So then each transition took about, I don't know, like 2 or 3 days to kinda, like, learn, and then, like, as time went on, I just started making, like, 15-minute mixes, and the reason why there were 15 was because this was the trial version of Atomics.
Right.
So every so often, the message would come up telling you to purchase the program.
So you got the free trials.
So if it come up, it would stop your recording. So I'm
So you had
like,
to
"All
start
right."
again.
Yeah, so I'm like, "You know what? Let's make these things 14 minutes long,
Yeah.
but then do it in parts."
Yeah.
So then, like, when I go to, like, put it all
You
together,
stitch it
it just
together.
you just stitch
So
it
it's
all together.
always a 14-minute
Yeah,
before
exactly.
the notice came on.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
So I learned how to, like, blend songs through that program,
Right.
and now, like, with, where we get our music, there's acapellas and instrumentals, and an acapella is just the words of a song. Instrumentals are just the beats of a song, and these
Mhm.
are usually found, like, in singles and promos on vinyl
Right.
and CDs of, like, a particular song. So let's say, like, TLC's No Scrubs.
Mhm.
If, that record label was like, "Let's push this single and, let's sell, like, a $6 copy of just this song," they would have, this isn't the album, this is just this song on the CD. They would have that version, the radio version, and then sometimes, if you were lucky, they would give you the beat and then, like, just the words.
Yes.
And so on the internet, people were just like throwing things like out there. Like
Yeah.
they would rip those CDs and then just throw them up. I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is okay. I'm gonna grab this.
Yeah, this is, just for our listeners' understanding. So this is, at the height of, the internet, or the early years of the internet. We're talking about dial-up. Is this during dial-up, or was this?
Yeah, oh yeah, I definitely had that one.
Yeah, so this is during dial-up,
Yeah.
and, we had a lot of pirating. This is before, the
Yes.
industry started, putting policies so everybody could be, like, their own, like, it's like a continuity of, like, transitioning from, being your own micro DJ as a mixtape to now we've evolved to the next medium, which is CD, right? And you're ripping, like, songs off, like, programs like Napsters, you're downloading illegal songs, and then you're just, like, spilling it together. Trust me, I was one of those people, and I know all you Gen X out there and early millennials, I know you're one of them too, so, but it was great. It allowed you, like, to
Yeah.
kinda experiment and make a bunch of, like, creative choice, right? That,
Yeah.
you couldn't, 'cause I found that when you go to, like, HMV, which is the music, store of the time in Toronto, um, it was specifically sold as album, like, an artist's album, but if you want, like, a
Mhm.
mix, you only want a certain playlist, right?
Yeah.
So that was our equivalent to a playlist, is burning CDs and ripping off songs off the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was there was when I saw what DJ equipment looked like,
Yeah.
but this was like a program. So like they kind of like just made the turntables look a little like cartoony, but it gave me like the gist of it. Okay, I can adjust the pitch on one of these things. I could start and stop like this. I could physically put my hand on a record, right?
Right.
So after looking at that program for years, like the question was like, "Hung, do you want to buy this stuff?
Right.
And where do you start?" And this is when like the internet was very, very like not in like too informational about stuff. Like you couldn't, it wasn't available yet online.
Yeah.
So looking this stuff up was like nearly impossible.
Yeah.
So in like 02, 03, okay, now I'm working. I'm out of high school. What do you want to do? Do you want to, like, you're getting a paycheck now? Like, do you want to put it towards something?
Right.
So I started just like buying gear and the physical gear, and then it wasn't until like I was like 20 when I was just like, this stuff's expensive. And I can see why it takes a lifetime to build a collection.
Yeah.
And but in the beginning stages, I was just like lost. I didn't know what I was supposed to buy. I didn't know what kind of DJ I was supposed to
Mhm.
be.
So you're navigating blindly with no guidance.
Right, and no one in the family or around me is doing this stuff, so it's really hard for me to, like, start, and I'm just getting, just a lot of brick walls and, like, there's a guy telling me what he did, another guy telling me what he did, but, like, none of these guys are interesting to me, right? Because they're not who I see myself to be, right?
Mhm.
So, for a lot of years, it was just a hobby, but, like, I couldn't even call myself a DJ, so
Mhm.
people would ask me about it because they would see me with it or whatever, and I'd be like, "I'm not a DJ." Like, I just, like, have the stuff, but, like, I can't call myself a DJ. And then, I think it wasn't until, like, maybe 2000 and like 6 no, 2004, 2005, I started buying, like, the professional grade level stuff,
Mhm.
and once I started getting into that space, I think I was, like, ready to take on gigs.
Mhm.
And it was hard because I was very limited with the music I had to play gigs. But now, like people at work, at my friends, they know I'm doing this, so they're hiring me for stuff,
Mhm.
and I'm horrible. Like I don't have the collection to do a wedding, but people are like, "Can you do my wedding?" I'm like, "I only have like 20 records."
Yeah, but you were honest. You were
Yeah,
transparent from the beginning, and even if you weren't
right.
great, like, you had to start somewhere.
And they were cool with it. A lot of these
Yeah.
people gave me a shot,
Yeah.
knowing like I was very, very limited, and they didn't care.
Yeah.
They would tell me to play songs again. They're just like happy that I was there because
Yeah.
I'm their friend, right?
Right.
And it was like a big learning experience because it helped me with like the songs I needed to get.
Mhm.
But luckily, technology started to advance so much that now music and DJ programs were being you can use them on your computer.
It sounded like even when you were navigating blindly, you could have stopped. Do you know what I mean? Even as
Yeah,
it was still a hobby and it hadn't transitioned to a profession.
yeah.
Why did you not stop? Why did you still kept going? And even when, your families and friends, were aware of like this interest of yours and they were willing to give you that chance. And you said, you were limited with your music selection and that experience. We'll touch base on the experience. Like, you know, why didn't you stop there, right? You know what I mean? Like, why
Yeah.
did you keep going?
I don't know. I think it's because I was young and I wasn't afraid to lose,
Yeah.
and I was learning. So I was just like, okay, well, I don't have the songs, but that doesn't mean I don't have to be. I can't. That doesn't mean I have to quit.
Right.
Because there was still a lot of things I was learning about it that were interesting.
So you were working within the scope of the limitations of the
Yeah,
music
yeah,
selection
yeah.
you had.
And also the equipment because when I was 19, I remember my crossfader couldn't cut. Could only blend the song like over it where it would fade. So
So help our listener understand
mhm.
what exactly is a crossfader.
A crossfader is like it's like the brains of your whole DJ setup. It's what your turntables and anything that's playing the song
Mhm.
will be connected into so that you get a sound output, right? So most things that you have even on your computer, there's a mixer on your computer that plays the sound, right? So this is like a physical soundboard in front of you where you can adjust the levels.
Right.
So mine was very limited. I bought like the all-in-one like DJ startup kit when I was younger, and I bought it from Play to Record, which is funny because I lived there for like 30 years after that. But it
How
I
much was it at the time?
it was like $800, and for the time it was expensive. But if you
Yes.
think back to it, I got a lot. Like
Mhm.
I literally got everything. So when I bought that starter kit. It's called the Battle Pack, the Stanton Battle Pack. I got two turntables, a mixer, slip mats, needles, headphones,
Yeah.
and I thought literally like every time you buy DJ gear, you get this.
Right.
And then I used it for like as many years as I could, and like I learned that like it's very limiting what you could do with it
Mhm.
because now I'm starting to see other DJs like do tricks and like do like really cool things with the turntables, and then I learned that like what I had wasn't like the professional grade
But where
stuff.
were you observing other DJs doing this? Was this on television?
Yeah, it was I think like I found video clips
Mm.
on the internet and they were very limited
This
like
is
at the same
before
time too.
YouTube, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's like somebody probably from Napster or something like
Yeah.
that. There's like a DJ clip of something, and I looked it up, and I was like, "Whoa, that's cool." And then I would look at his turntables. I'd be like, "I don't have those. I need to get those." So then like I would look at like the brand, and then like that's when I started doing my research, and then I would go to shops,
Yeah.
and they'd be like, "That you know how much that turntable is?" I was like, "No." They're like, "I think it's like $1,400." I was like, "Wow, for two?" They're like, "No, for one." I was like, "For one? That's crazy. I don't think I'll ever do that."
And did you eventually?
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
Like 2 years later, because like the gigs started happening, and
Mhm.
I wanted to show up with like better gear.
And when you were doing the gigs, like you said, this was often through word of mouth or self-promoting, because this again, this is like the early age of the internet, right? And when you were doing the gigs, like, did you need the internet? Because the internet was still dial-up. So how did like, I guess because we're talking about now, just for context, now like you have data and you can just like open your laptop and then just use your turntable and connect it to the laptop with like Wi-Fi and everything. Whereas back then we didn't have like wireless, right? It was basically record everything
Mhm,
at home through dial-up onto a format like a CD
mhm.
and then cart it around for gigs.
So the things I was using at first were records, and
Mhm.
then I got, this one turntable where it would play CDs. So when I got that turntable, a lot of things changed.
But how
Cause
did you teach yourself to like just maneuvering vinyls and,
Mhm.
like, spinning and scratching? Like, was this just, like, observation or you were experimenting and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
scratching and everything?
Well, that part didn't happen till, like, much later. The I learned, like, the basics of it, right? But I was for a long time, I was scared to do it because doing it on turntables and live,
Mhm.
you can, like, skip the record.
Mm.
Or if you scratch it and, like, the needle jumps, you're not at the part that you wanted to scratch anymore. Now you're all of a sudden over here at some other part, and it's because of, like it could be the vibration, it could be the dirt, the
Yeah,
dust.
the sensitivity
Yeah,
of
so
that.
there's one thing I had to battle a lot with was, the vinyl, portion of it and the needles and everything like that. So for a long time, I just, like, kinda coasted, just, like, I blend songs, I don't scratch, I don't do any of those fancy things, but that's not what people were asking for anyway. And
What
it
were they asking for?
just, "Can you play my wedding and my birthday party?"
Okay.
And so I didn't even think of this as a business. I was just doing it because I like to
Yeah.
blend songs. And then people were just like, "Can you if I pay you, will you do this?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yes,
Yeah.
sure. I do this anyway, like, in my room." And so
And how did you determine the price or you just took on whatever they offered you?
at the time, I was like, "I'll take anything."
Yeah.
Alright? So, like, they usually offer. They're like, "Do
Right.
you wanna do it for this?" I'm like, "Sure." I don't know what DJ rates are.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Not even a business."
Right.
I just showed up and I'm like, "Alright, I'm here for, like, 10 hours." And I didn't even ask when it ended.
Right.
I just like DJing, I'll play.
Yeah.
And then I did that for as long as it lasted, and then, like, once I started hitting the clubs, it was like, "Alright, I kinda understand, like, what worth is."
And, let's circle back to, like, when you started doing weddings and birthdays, or even, like, the earlier years when, friends and family, like,
Mhm.
actually gave you a chance. Were you nervous going into the setup? Like, how did you feel, like, during, and how did you feel afterwards?
I don't remember. I think I was, like, excited because, like, you're doing it for, like, friends and family,
Yeah.
and I wasn't used to the hype. So people were just just so happy around you, and that wasn't my life at all. And so once when I had that, like, excitement around me at that time, I was like, "This is interesting."
Yeah. Was it, like, the term in mental health, it's like it's a dopamine fix in some ways, like, was it a high that you kinda gravitated towards where it kind of blend your passion with, like, receiving this feeling of, like, validation for something you were doing really good at?
I don't know. The thing that sticks out to me the most is we're all standing there singing the song.
Yeah.
I think that part's, like, fun. Like, I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, shit, we all like, this is a song that we were just listening to
Yeah.
2 days ago in someone's car,
Yeah.
and now, like, we're at a backyard party, like, singing it again, but, like, at a gathering."
Yeah.
And so, like, that was, like, really fun for a while.
Yeah.
I like the feeling when I'm playing a song, and then when I turn the volume down, then everyone's singing it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
The engagement of it all, right?
I think the energy, because like I'm like a very mellow person,
Yeah.
so the opposite of that is what I see there is when everyone's going crazy,
Yeah.
right? Like you can see like I'm
So you're feeding off the energy, like they're energizing you because they're
yeah.
so into it,
You
right?
you can see like when I'm in the booth, like I'm having a good time, but like my version of it.
Yeah.
I'm not like outwardly like just like getting everyone to clap and sing along. I am sometimes, but like most of the time, it's like an office space.
Right.
Like this is their party,
Yeah.
right? And I came to realize that as I got older, that it's them that like make this experience happen. I'm kind of just like playing the music that they want, and yeah, sure, like I have a skill to put it all together, but like without them and their excitement, like the vibe of the room wouldn't exist, right? So I learning what I learned from like from that point of view is like it's very humbling. You're just this one piece to like a bunch of other pieces that make this thing happen.
Yeah, it's a collective effort.
Yeah, yeah, and I didn't notice that's what I was like experiencing when I was younger doing this. I just thought we were all just drunk and happy. And
That helps too.
yeah, yeah, it's like, oh, they're just like
A relaxed state.
they're just singing like 112. You like 112. This is a good time, right?
Oh, I
Yeah,
need to know.
exactly. So it the very first part of it was like a group setting, so
Yeah.
I felt comfortable and safe. And then as it got on older, like more like down the road, it was like these songs that you're playing for your friends also connect with all these other people. Yeah, and that was like kind of the bridge to like when I started to get out there more.
Right. And okay, so let's give us a timeline of there more. And when you mean by get out there more, um, you're still doing stuff on the side for friends and family. And now you're
Mhm.
working with like what restaurants,
Mhm.
venues, like private venues, you're self advertising, or you're working with buddies who are in the industry, or like how does that evolve?
That's exactly it. Yeah. I was I'll never forget this day. I started to give my mixtapes out to like Foot Locker.
Yeah.
And I had a guy that was like I don't know, yeah, it was my friend, but like I bought a lot of stuff from Foot Locker, and so we would always talk. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm a DJ." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you should bring your mixtapes in here." I'm like, "Okay." So I would bring him in there, and he'd play them. And I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, "Wow, I'm in Foot Locker, and they're playing my mixtape. This is Foot Locker's not like Winners. It's Foot Locker. Like this is
Yeah.
exactly where I want to be with this stuff."
Yeah.
Right? It's like basketball,
Yeah.
sneakers,
Yeah.
Foot Locker, me. It all made sense. And then I'll never forget it. This guy, because I was living in Cambridge, right? So like this is like Kitchener Waterloo. There's a well-known DJ up there, and he he sent me a DM on Facebook, and he's like, "Yo, I gotta talk to you." I was like, "What? Who is this guy?" Like I don't know who this guy is, right? But it was cool because he's Asian, right? And up there, there's like no Asian people,
Yeah.
and but also there's like no Asian DJs. Like
Yeah.
how this is like an anomaly. Who
Yeah.
is this guy, right? He kind of just appeared. And then I talked to him, and he was like, "Listen, I heard your shit at Foot Locker." I was like, "What? What? You heard my shit at Foot Locker?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, why don't you come work with us?" Kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So then,
So he heard your stuff, your
yeah,
mixtape at the Cambridge Foot Locker?
no, this was in Kitchener when I was going
Okay.
to school up there.
Right.
So I would like always go to that mall because like my bus stop was there, my
Yeah.
transfer was there.
Yeah.
So like to get from like Kitchener Waterloo to like Cambridge,
Yeah.
I needed to go to that mall.
Right.
So like I would always stop and be like, "Hey, what's going on at Foot Locker?" Kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? You know, why not? And so he got a hold of it, he liked it, and then I started learning off of him.
Yeah.
And then he's in like a culmination of like a bunch of other DJs.
Yeah. And how long was he in the industry when you met him?
At that point, I'm not sure. Like I'm pretty sure it was like probably like more than 5 years,
Yeah.
maybe 10 years, because his collection was pretty big
Yeah.
and he knew his way around like the business already.
Right. Landscape. Yeah.
So I started to learn like things through him.
Yeah. So he
And
became your first official mentor?
yeah, yeah, I would say he was a mentor, a guy that was just like my buddy
Yeah.
for this whole thing. Like I didn't have anyone to like talk to about this stuff,
Right.
right? Like my buddies who I went to high school with are just like, "Yo, when's your next gig?"
Yeah.
Like I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah.
But this guy would be like, "Yo, like come to this venue with us, come play with us here. You'll learn this, you'll learn that." And so I started picking it up by being in the scene, and then also like uh going to school for radio. That was like another thing that like opened me up to media even more.
Mhm.
And so now like I'm like, "Oh, there's DJs on the radio? Like you can do this on the radio type of thing?" And then that was like a career type of option that I could have.
Right.
And so, like, for a minute, it was like those 2 things were the only thing on my mind. And it was, like, hard to, like, take me out of that space because I always thought about how I can, like, get better over here and then how I can leverage a career over here. So it's
Yeah.
like radio or sorry, DJing and then like the media world.
Right.
And like every so often they would just like do this.
Yeah.
But then I would see a guy like starting from scratch who was like the main DJ at Flow 935, who I would listen to his mixtapes and his mixes all the time. And I'm like, this guy is so sick. How do I be like him? So like I was trying to like merge both worlds.
Just so our listener knows for context, Flow 93.5 is like a popular, what kind of genre of music is it on Toronto station?
Is hip hop, R&B, and reggae.
Right. And it was very big during like the 2000s.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like the kind of like the history of it from like that point on. Like that it was like it happened so fast too cuz I remember not having anything in '02 and then like in '08 all of these things happened already. I was out of school. I won. No, I didn't win any competitions yet, but like I was like in this space where it's like I'm gigging every weekend type of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm on the road and I'm doing all these things.
Where
Like
the gigs are usually like they're at restaurants, like clubs.
yeah, there were like bars and restaurants
And
and
how did that
nightclubs.
how did you feel like transitioning from family and friends, whether it's a house party, wedding venue to now we're talking about strangers? Was there a high level of expectation that, your buddy had a gig like for you? Did you hold yourself to a standard when you were performing there? Like
Mhm.
walk us through that.
I mean, it's like any job that you get that's like your friends referring you to. You want to always be professional. I wasn't always. I was very young. So I was like 22, 23 years old and they're handing me free alcohol. So I wasn't like the most like professional when it came to these things. And so like that comes to like how you talk to people, your clients and like just your overall like your character. And so I was still learning how to be like a person, but they're treating me like I'm special. And I'm like, I'm not special. And then like, so I was like, because I didn't have any confidence in myself yet, it showed when I was drinking. Right. And it showed how insecure I was at the same time. And so, but the scary thing is I'm out at these gigs alone. Right. So it's like, there's nobody here to like check me except for security, but security won't do anything unless I like go off on a tangent or something like that and like actually do any like, something harmful, which like I was always cool, but like, and I was a jerk, but I think it was because I'm not like a customer service person. I may like do the work person, but in the line of business that we're in here, I didn't have a full understanding of that.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that like the way that you treat these customers is a reflection on this business. So they're not like, oh, Hung's a dick. It's just all him. It's like, no, Hung's a dick and he works for this bar. Fuck this bar. Right. So like I didn't have an idea of what I was saying to people when I was drunk or like when I was pissed off at them. Cause these requests sometimes would get you angry. When somebody's like interrupting you while you're working, especially like during a DJ set, it can get annoying. And especially if it just comes in like succession. It's like one person, another person, another person. It's like, guys, I had like a whole thing lined up.
Yeah.
You just threw me off. Now I'm angry, but I didn't know how to check myself back then, right? I'm still working on it today. But back then I was just like a wild card. Like just like so freely with the things that I said to people. And I don't regret it. Sometimes some of the people deserved it, but some of the people didn't.
Yeah.
And I guess it just comes with the game, you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just like how it is. But I did, you know what I did learn through all that is like you do appreciate the good nights. When there's a night where people are just like vibing and it's like, wow, you could do no wrong. The whole room is going off of every song you just played. It makes it worth it.
But that's the nature of like any sort of work, you know what I mean? You have like a good work day and sometimes you have a shitty work day, right? And as you're navigating this new experience, you're figuring out customer service.
Yeah.
Some people you got a really good crowd, and others just like,
Yeah.
screw this, I'm not coming back again,
Exactly.
Or even like the venue that you're in, like you're learning to experience customer service, not just from the party listeners or the dancers, but also the business, the owner, right? If they aren't respecting you or you haven't reached that level where you're having a good rapport with each other, you're just like, "Yeah, I'm done with this venue. I'm never coming back." You know what I
Yep.
mean? Even though it's good business, but it's still like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And did you ever get that, like, as you're coming up with, like, trying to figure out your personality, did any of the restaurants or even the clubs, they're just kinda pull you aside and just say, "Hey, hon, like, that was really shitty," or, like,
Hmm.
some pep talk or, like, a lot of teachable moments that you kinda picked up from it, or you're just like, "Oh, they're all
Yeah.
assholes," kinda thing?
No, no, no. I've had moments where I was checked, and rightfully so.
Yeah,
Some moments were like, that wasn't like, I didn't start that, somebody else did.
right.
And then that showed me, like, the politics of, like, this whole thing too. Because like, if you don't know who knows who at that bar, like, and that's my problem is that, like, I don't even think of that. I will just, like, tell someone off,
Mm,
and the owner will be like, "Yo, that was my friend. Like,
mm,
can you just, like, do the thing?" And I'm like, "Oh, shit. First of all, sorry about your friend, and then second, sure."
yeah,
Right? And so that's, like, one of the things that I don't like about that business is that it's very political and it's very, community within community type of thing. And, because I'm, like, a solo type of guy, I don't really have a lot of circles I hang out with. I'm no, what I mean is, like, some establishments are like they're friends with like another establishment, so they work together kind of thing. And
mm,
some establishments are owned under an umbrella that own like 8 of them. You know
mm,
what I mean? So like there's that, and then there's like, and it really helps that like if you're a person who is outgoing to like meet these people and network and stuff like that. So my challenge, what's challenging to me is to network with these people because I'm not good at it. And I've realized over the years that like I even want to be good at. I
mm,
want to just show you what I do, and if you like it, book me. If you
right,
don't, then don't. And so what what happened during my 20s was that like I was trying to break that and like get out of that shell, but it was hard for me to do that because like I know what I want, which was like to get work, but it just felt really slimy. I'm like I'm only talking to this person to
mm,
see if they'll book me.
mm,
Right? And it's like, "Oh, you know, like, I know this person and that person," and you're
mm,
trying to, like, just do that thing, and I'm like, I was never good at it, so I was like, "I'm just gonna let my work talk for me, and if
right,
that doesn't work, so be it."
right,
Once I let that go, I started putting myself in positions and finding myself in spaces that I could thrive in,
mhm,
which was, like, spaces that were more so, like, for a person like myself, who maybe doesn't go out much, but, like, when they do, they like to hear, like, fun music.
mm,
It's not, like, pigeonholed into, like, one certain style, one certain genre,
mm,
the whole 5 hours type of thing, right?
mm.
And so the landscape of, like, clubbing and bars and venues and all that stuff started to change, and open formats were starting to happen more. And I'm
What is open format?
open format is, like, you're playing, like, music from a wide range.
Mm,
So it could be, like, I don't know, you could play, like, a Beyoncé song, a Nelly song, like, something in the 2000s, and then all of a sudden just go to something that's, like, just released yesterday.
mm,
But people are aware of all of this stuff because it's, like, top 40
right,
and well popularized, right? So, like, that was where I started to find my lane. I'm like,
mm,
I don't care anymore that, like, I play this Katy Perry song.
yeah,
I kinda like it,
yeah,
right? I don't it doesn't bug me because, like, there are other people in this room that feel the same way.
yeah,
And so, those rooms I felt more comfortable in, and so I started to just make my I wouldn't say, like, make a living doing it because I never really had it as a job, but, like, where I feel comfortable to work in was,
right.
like, spaces like that.
It's the opposite of open format.
The opposite of open format is
Yeah,
would be, like, just, like, a place that just one style of music the whole
right.
night.
So what I'm hearing is that, like, as you're evolving, you're experimenting with different styles, but also you're being true to yourself, you know what I mean? You're honoring your authentic self. You're like, "You know what? I don't care if people don't like this.
Yeah.
This is what I like, and I'm gonna just, like, display this aspect of myself, and the right kind of crowd that, will jibe with what I'm putting out there is the kind of venue that I wanna be in," right?
Yeah, yeah, I just accepted it. I was like, "Alright, I'm not gonna be" not that I can't, but, like, a guy that's, like, headlining, like, certain, like, outdoor festival type thing.
Mm.
I was, like, thinking about going into that lane, but I was like, "I don't want what comes with it. I don't care for that whole platform."
What comes with it?
Well, your name is, like, bigger than life. And
Mm.
so now there's this expectation of you when like people pay all that money to go to watch a show, or like you now have to produce music,
What are
or
you basing that on? Or who have you seen in the industry that you were observing that you're like, or you'd
but
heard
this
from?
this is like when you get to like a level where you're doing festivals and stuff like
Mhm.
that. It's like a celebrity,
Mm,
and we all know what comes with like celebrityism.
mm,
And so I can only imagine what these guys' phones are like
mm.
every day. My phone is tucked away, and I barely look at it.
Mm,
I can't imagine looking through that thing and there's like 800 messages about like this, and this, just
mm,
all tied towards like this one thing this person does.
mm,
That would like I would be so triggered. Like it just wouldn't does not sound peaceful.
mm.
So where I'm at now with this is like, all right, if I get a gig this month, cool. If I don't, also cool.
Yeah.
Right? Because like my schedule and my routines now don't revolve around DJing.
Mm,
And it's different because like it always has been like since I was like 22, 23 to up
so
until like mid 30s. But like now that like we're like past COVID and like I like hit my 40s, I was just like, yeah, I'm good.
yeah,
I didn't want to think about stuff like this anymore.
yeah. I mean, like a few times we've talked, you kind of hit a point where you were just like, I'm done with DJing. Like
Yeah,
you wanted to retire, shelf it. And so what prompted that? Like,
just the lifestyle.
mm,
And also like I wouldn't say like I don't love it anymore, but I've done a lifetime's work in that career, in that field. And I found myself just like listening to old music again on Spotify and at work and when I'm like on the subway and stuff. And I'm like, this is what I enjoy. When the headphones are on and I'm like in a workout or like doing that kind of thing, I feel alive.
what do you mean? Give the listeners example of old music.
Like 90s hip hop.
Mm,
I love 90s hip hop.
same.
But I can't really play it like at the places I play at,
Right.
right? Because like these kids are young and they want to hear pop music. But there are certain places that I play where it's like people my age and they
Like
love
you,
hearing
my
that stuff.
wedding, Titan's
Yeah.
wedding.
So they like that stuff and I keep those places in mind.
Yeah.
And that's where like I find DJing isn't work. It's like you're working, but you're also like playing the stuff you like for other people who also like it. You're
Yeah.
kind of just hanging out.
Yeah.
And so that's like kind of keeping me in it still. But the part about like hanging it up and like calling it a career, like that's kind of been looming like for I think before COVID.
Yeah.
Just because like the politics and like getting yourself out there and like doing all this stuff, and now it's all digital, and they want you to like not they, but like to have more exposure, you have to be on Instagram more. You have to have a TikTok, and I'm like, yo, I'm so tired.
Mm,
Like, if there's anything I wanna do less is be on the internet.
mm,
It's literally like looking at your phone all day long is not healthy to me.
right.
Even though, like, I'm bad at it too, but, like, I can see myself not being on it because I came from a time where we weren't on this thing,
Yes.
like, all the time, right? And so,
Yes.
like, when even when you're at gigs, people are holding up their phones, showing you a song. There's that. There's just, the constant, like, play this, play that, play this, play that, and move at this speed that's, like, lightning quick, and I'm not that guy anymore.
Mm,
Right? Like I can hold my own and like it can be a great time with me when I'm doing this, but
yeah.
every day or like every week, it's a grind.
What about like throughout your DJing experience or slash career, did you ever have any upcomers that sought you out and be like, hey, I really like your style. You cool with mentoring me?
Lots, yeah.
Yeah.
I met a lot of kids who said those actual words,
Mm,
and it was cool because like I saw myself in them.
right.
The hungry like Asian kid that has all the gear but has no direction,
No guidance, yeah.
or like has all the direction but no gear.
Right.
And so I did a lot of workshops where it was like one on one,
Right.
and you're working with like like DJ groups and stuff like that where we're mentoring kids that day, or like we're doing like speeches and stuff like that, or we're just like this, we're on a podium,
Mm,
we're on like a panel. And it's interesting because like I'm living it and seeing it and working through it and not thinking about it in any other way other than this is work.
mhm,
But the kids are like, wow, that's like a lifestyle that like sounds very interesting. Like I'm
Mm,
so fascinated. And they don't see all the hardships
mhm,
that like a lot of us went through.
right,
But the fascination in their eyes and how they perceived and how excited they are,
mhm,
like that part to me like was motivating because
right,
I was like, all right, yeah, it sucks what we do sometimes, but there are like cool parts to it. And these kids are like they really they get excited about that.
right,
So it brought me back to like, how what excites you about this stuff? I'm
right.
like, what they're talking about, 100%.
Yeah, you're
Like,
experiencing through their lens, so it gives you that little
yeah.
jolt of like,
I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, there's like bad parts to it too. Parts I don't really like.
Mm,
I don't. It makes me like annoyed, but like
mm,
there are like some great parts to it too. And if you just want to focus on the good things, like you'll get a lot of good out of it. And what that's what like kept me going like throughout all the years too. But yeah, seeing the kids like evolve this thing and move it forward, that's pretty cool too. Because the DJs now are like playing anything.
mm.
Uh, we're and like what was tough for me in the beginning was like visibility. So there was Asian DJs when I started,
Yeah, that was my next question, yeah.
but there wasn't a lot. So they were okay. Ask the question. What?
No, no, that's the direction I was going because, like, you were saying that, regarding mentoring, there's just like it's so cool that you're seeing all these like these young up and coming that were Asian
Mhm.
and visibility. You are now like representing that world that maybe they hadn't seen, but it's just like, oh my God, there's someone that's like me from this world
Yeah.
that's actually doing it. But aside from like that one friend that that DM you on Facebook, um, you said, like, in that community, like the Kitchener, Waterloo area,
Yeah.
who was Asian, who else were you seeing? Like, what we saw on television representation,
Yeah.
like you said, like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Screech, like,
Yeah.
it was predominantly very Caucasian based, right? Aside from,
Yeah.
like, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah. Well, the dominating DJs were like celebrities, right? So like
Mm,
Jazzy Jeff, A-Track, list goes on. But these guys are like well established and they did things for their careers to
mhm,
make them celebrities, right? So
mhm,
like I had guys like that to look up to, but like did I ever see myself being them? No.
right,
Right? Because like this local scene that I'm in and like how small it is in Canada, it was like there's only one guy for like so many things, and it's like, all right, I just like understood it. It's like
mm,
you can do this as a business and be mobile, and then you can also just play in like someone's bar or like someone's restaurant. That's okay too.
right,
And like making a living out of it in that sense is was enough for me.
right,
But the visibility part was like it was tough because like when I did meet an Asian DJ, they're Filipino,
mm,
right? Or some were Chinese, but nobody's Vietnamese.
mm,
And it wasn't until like pandemic where I started streaming, where I started seeing like all these streams from these Asian kids, and they're like all in America, but some of them are Vietnamese, and I'm
mm,
like, "Yo, you're Vietnamese? That's so sick." They're
yeah,
like, "Yeah, you're Viet." Like, "Yeah,
yeah,
that's so sick." And then like they would be linked up with like other DJs who are Asian, and then there's like Filipino ones, and now there's like women Filipino DJs and like women Chinese DJs,
yeah,
and it started to like broaden like the whole perspective of it, and I'm like, "This is sick."
yeah,
Because when I was growing up, all I wanted to be around was people like myself,
yeah,
but I couldn't because everywhere I went, it was like old white guy or
yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Just nobody like me.
yeah.
And now that like we're done with COVID, now you go out there, there's a Vietnamese DJ who's like 20 playing at some Viet like bar somewhere, and he's playing Vienna House for a crowd full of Vietnamese people.
I'll help the listener understand what is Vienna House.
Vienna House, from my interpretation and what I heard, it's like techno music but in Vietnamese.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen on social media where like some like some of the DJs like in Vietnam or even in the club, they're dropping like clips that says "bun bao dai, bun bao." Like
Yeah.
it's like it's drop mic, and then everybody's like "bun bao."
When you see it in Vietnam, that brings it full circle. Because
Yeah,
I learned about it here, and I would listen to it, and I'm like, I don't really like it. Like, it doesn't
yeah,
sound like house music to me, right? But then you go to Vietnam, and then you see how people react to it. It's like the anthem. Like,
yeah,
everyone loves that shit. I'm like, "Oh,
yeah,
okay." Like, I'm reacting off of this energy
yeah,
that all these people seem to be, like, in love with, and
yeah,
this is the sound? Oh, wow. So, like, that opened my eyes too. Like, after COVID and, like, seeing, like, this next generation of DJs, that also helped me, like, with the decision of hanging it up too. I'm
yeah,
like, "It's their turn."
yeah.
Like, this is what music is, like, starting to come to,
Yeah,
like
you're passing the
TikTok.
baton. But I love that this new generation, like they're honoring their heritage by kinda, like,
Yeah.
mirroring, like, what we grew up with and still in existence, which is, like, Vietnamese opera or, like, these have you seen ones where they've included, like, Vietnamese opera in their,
Yeah.
playlist?
Yeah.
And then, like, all these, like, "Bánh bao đây" kind of thing, like, these popular sayings, cultural saying. It's just, like,
Yeah.
that's so cool because, like, things like that, like, when I was growing up, were just, like it was just like, oh, mom and dad's listening to
Yeah.
Cải Lương, right? Vietnamese opera, and you were just like, "Oh, here we go again." But now to incorporate that part of that heritage, what into, like,
Mhm.
the playlist is pretty cool.
Yeah, they're remixing stuff that's just like, wow,
It's a
this
really
is
creative
so sick.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the last question, before we wrap up is, I guess visibility was one thing, but how did you navigate that, um, especially in an Asian household
Mhm.
or culture where it was either become a doctor or a lawyer, and how did your mom, feel about it? Was she supportive? Did she, like, have mixed
Mhm.
feelings? And
Mhm.
even if she did come at you with that, like, um, did you let that bother you, or are you just like, yeah,
I don't think my mom ever had expectations of me being either of those things, but,
yeah.
she wasn't I can't remember my mom not being, like, negative towards it.
Mm.
She helped me buy my first turntable.
Oh, that's awesome, yeah.
Um, and she, always, like, championed it. I
Yeah.
don't think she ever said, "Don't do it." If I ever told her I want to make a career out of it,
Yeah.
maybe she would be like,
She had a reserve, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, "Don't that lifestyle is kinda hard, huh?" Like,
Right.
"Well, you sure?" That kinda thing.
Yeah,
She's never against it.
yeah.
Um, I think that's, like, one thing I could say, like, my parents never did was, like, take me out of it. They
Mm,
just didn't like me working late.
right.
And now that I'm older, I'm like, I hate being up past 10.
Trust me, 9 o'clock is our cutoff. The fact that I can stay up
Oh,
until
yeah.
is
I
like,
got up at 5 this morning. I was like, "This
yeah,
is the best." I'm up before everyone.
yeah.
She was, like, really, like not, like, supportive, but, like, she wasn't anti-supportive.
Mm,
I think it was new to her too. She's like, "He keeps bringing home all these records. What is this stuff? It's cool my son's into something.
mm,
I just don't know what it is."
right,
But she's, aware of, like, what DJs are and stuff
right.
like that.
That's cool though, like, she had her reserve, but she never, like,
Yeah.
you know
But I did my part too, cause like, I always had a job. So it's like, "Oh, you still DJ?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "How are you doing that with working that job?" I'm like, "I
Mm,
just do it at night." She's like, "Okay." Is it
yeah,
aren't you tired? I'm like, "I'm always tired." But that's like her checking up on me, right?
yeah,
Like, but I always wanted to keep a job because like I knew how like unstable that career is, right?
mm.
If you even want to call it that.
So I guess, like, before we wrap up, a quick reflection on your journey of
Yeah.
from your mom's mixtape, this, like, one lengthy track, that you observe as a child to, where you're at now, where you're just like, "I'm passing baton on to the next generation." It was cool and it kinda sucked because, I think when we're in a pursuit of our interests, we're navigating blindly, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
frustrating, but I think that that curiosity to kind of better yourself and evolve and just kinda, like, accept, like, all the shortcomings and limitations that came with it, but also embrace, like, what it allowed you, like, you took, like, your side hustle, check and invested in yourself, like, you
Mhm.
saw the potential in yourself and you continue to grow and nurture yourself, without anyone yeah, there were mentors along the way that saw your potential, but you kept furthering yourself, right?
Yeah.
So what is your takeaway from this line of work and what you've kind of ventured so far? And any parting words for future up and comers?
What I took away from it,
Yeah.
I saw like the hustler inside of me,
Mhm.
right? Cause like I made something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And that's cool because like it started with like nothing, no resources to like, oh, now you have your own website where
Right.
people are like filling in this form. And now it's like on my phone when someone's interested to like do a gig or whatever. And like they filled out this form and it's like in a professional setting like
Yeah.
that.
You went from pioneer to entrepreneur kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Like I saw like myself with a business, right? Like once I opened that business and this was what I was doing for it, I was like, whoa, man, you just did that. You're not like Hung, the guy that's just gonna show up and like play some music and
Right.
like have a couple beers and leave. You're now like, okay, what's the duration of the event? Okay, what does the event need?
Yeah.
I'm asking like professional
Yeah,
questions,
structures, yeah.
and there's like this template to streamline into this business that I have that runs 24/7.
Mhm.
I saw the hustler inside of me and what I was able to build. I also saw like the insecure side of me that I guess like used music and everything like that as like my weapon.
Mm.
Well, I guess no, that's not an insecurity. That's like a power. I saw what my superpower was,
Right,
and that was like through media and music. I'm
right.
like, okay, you know what I can do to get all of these people happy? This. And like I
Yeah,
would play like a song, and then I'm like, look at that.
yeah,
I did that, right?
yeah.
But then like I saw like my humane side too, my the side of me that was like, hey, when someone was like, can you play the song because like it means something to this person, or like when can you just do this because I haven't seen this person in so long, they're here, we're here fine. Sure. Like I tapped into that part of myself that like was like compassionate to other people.
Right.
And it was also my weakness because a lot of people took advantage of me
Mm.
by lying to me, telling me it's their birthday when it's not.
Right.
And that's fine. I don't care. Like,
You do for
did
free.
I make you happy? Sure. Okay. Yeah. But there was that side of me. I learned the hustler side, and then I learned like when it's time to like call it a career.
Mm.
Like what if it doesn't call you anymore and you don't feel like it's something you want to do,
Mhm.
you can walk away.
Yeah, been there, done that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, and but I think this is like one of those things is like a lot of DJs I see, some of them are grumpy.
Mm.
And I'm like, "Why are you here, man? Like, you don't look happy." They're like, "There's like a reason or whatever reason it is that they have to be there."
They're just existing, they're
They
not
they have
living, yeah.
they well they some of them tell me they have to be doing this, and I'm like, "I don't wanna ever have to be doing anything."
Mm.
Right? Or at least this, right? Like, work is work, I understand. I have to be at my job, but that's work.
Mm.
DJing is like it starts off, I can't say for everybody, but it usually starts off as a hobby,
Mm.
and it's fun and it's a passion.
Mm.
So when it started getting to like I have to, or like I'm not sleeping because of this,
Mm.
when I got older, I realized that that trade isn't worth it.
There you go.
And so the mentality that I had starting out to now, I saw the growth.
Right.
And the adult side of me isn't the person you want to see at these bars because like the kids don't want like old man Hung there. But I'm glad he exists
Yeah.
because it's actually keeping me grounded
Right.
where I don't feel like, oh, that DJ's doing something. Well, man, I suck. I don't think like that anymore.
Yeah.
It's like,
You don't have
uh,
to size yourself up to
no,
that.
I'm like, good. That person's been doing it for 30 fucking
Yeah.
years.
You know yourself now.
Yeah, I'm like, if it's about time they gotta look.
Yeah.
Or like when I see like somebody like doing like a Raptor game or something like that, and they're like 20 years younger than me, I'm like, amazing. This is
Yeah.
the person for the job.
Right.
You want that young energy. You
Yeah.
want the kids to be involved at a game. You want like that high up tempo stuff. I'm like, that's not my energy right
Yeah.
now. I'm like I said, I'm in bed at a certain time, but I also don't exert way too much energy like I used to anymore. It's like go to work, go to the gym, and focus on the things that are keeping you happy right now. And if it's not DJing, then put it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
There
it.
you go. I think that sums it up. That advice for the up and coming generation.
Yeah.
Know when to walk away. Right. Any other additional advice you want to give the up and coming generation?
I mean, don't force yourself into something if you're not feeling it. Like
Mm.
it's all of this is like within some sort of vibe.
Right.
Uh, People can sense when you're DJing if you're in a bad mood
Mhm.
or if like you're not into it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way your face looks or like
Yeah.
how you're blending songs or the songs you pick.
Yeah.
But they can read you.
Yeah, they
Just
can
like
feel it
just
too.
just like you're reading them, they can read you, right? And I noticed that as I got older as a DJ that like I'm not in my own bubble here.
Mm.
I'm very visible.
Yeah.
They can see everything that I'm doing. And if I look pissed off, they're gonna feel like this isn't a happy environment.
Yeah.
And so if anyone who's DJing right now that feels like this isn't for them, like it's okay. Like just like you don't have to keep doing it.
Mm.
Like you know what I mean? Like unless it's your job and you feel like, okay, I'm doing this because it's work, and not everyone likes their job. I get it, right? But if you have the option to be like, this isn't for me, I don't want to do this anymore, like it's okay. You could like put it down because there could be something when you do that, you're making room for something else that you might like to enter your space,
Yeah.
right? I didn't know I would like drawing, and then I started drawing, but I was DJing less, but drawing was like fulfilling for a while. And then like I didn't know I liked cutting hair. And then I started barbering. I'm like, yo, cutting hair is sick. Like I love cutting hair. That feeling you get after someone's like, wow, I feel handsome. I feel
Yeah.
like myself. You did that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I did. That's nice too.
Yeah.
So if I didn't stop DJing and like explore other passions, I wouldn't have like learned about all these other things, right? So now I'm cutting hair and I don't even think about DJing when I'm cutting hair. But what's great about the DJing part is I have stories that I tell these
Yeah.
people when I'm cutting hair.
Yeah.
And so that became like this new thing I'm doing. But again, like I gave myself the space in the room to learn something new because the DJing part of it wasn't as like how it was before. Yeah.
Well, on that note, thank you, listeners, for joining us on this curious episode of how Hung got into DJing and what came from that. Stay curious and stay connected, you know? Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Everyone like, subscribe, hit the bell.